Hey guys, it's John here. It's been a little while since we last talked, and we are approaching the version 1.1 alpha, so I figured it was a good time to do a video update on Patreon. Now, as opposed to last time when I kind of had a speech I went through, I instead jotted down some points and some key things that I'd like to cover that have gone on in the past month. The first one being that went to ViewConf, which was amazing. Got to meet a lot of Vuetify fans, a lot of community members, and overall it was a super great experience. I definitely appreciate everyone that stopped by and said hello, and hopefully I was able to give you some swag, and if not, thank you for coming by regardless. But overall, it was a great experience, and I definitely look forward to going to more meetups in the future. Um, Talking about 1.1, it is a very large update, but it is backwards compatible 100%. We have completely rebuilt all of the form components, pretty much from the ground up to stem from a base input that has allowed us to do a lot of really cool things with expanding functionality throughout all the components that are available. A couple of those changes, so we have the new V input component, we have a new V messages component, which is going to take over the like the details you would see in the inputs whenever you have messages or errors, and label as well. So these have been abstracted, so it'll be very easy for you to create your own custom inputs if you so choose to. But we also have some new additions. So the text field has received plenty of updates. In fact, it now supports new styles like the outline style, properly supports box styles, and as well as solo. And we also have extracted the text area functionality into its own component, which is vText area, which is able to then contain the same features, but also have a more scoped view of what it's responsible for. And because we have Vue functional components, this will all be backwards compatible. So don't worry about when you install 1.1, you'll get some deprecation notices. But that should be pretty much it. Everything should be working exactly the way it was on 1.0, 0.17. We have also abstracted two more new components from the original vSelect. So vSelect now is going to be responsible for single and multi-selects, no filtering, no searching, whereas a new component, the vAutoComplete, now contains the functionality that existed before in Select. The segmented overflow and editable buttons are now in a new vOverflow button component. And then because all of these extend from text field, we now have a more native approach to handling the autocomplete selections and searching without doing something custom. It's already kind of built into the component. We've updated a range slider. Range slider now has better support for keyboard actions, as well as focused and our focused styles, and as well the icons all line up. If you guys have been following Twitter, you've probably seen a couple of pictures that I've posted. Everything is very uniform. But we also have added new things like the thumb label is now customizable. You can put anything in there if you want, and then you can specify its size, so you can kind of create your own custom interfaces with that. But we also now have a range slider, which is actually pretty cool. It'll allow you to, just like you would normally with a regular range input, but there's two of them. And it's Nico kind of headed that up and then did a very great job, and I think you guys are definitely going to enjoy it. Some other cool things that we've added, there's been some quality of life updates for things like menu and dialogue, as well as divider, which now has a new vertical prompt so that you can get your vertical lines like in toolbars and whatnot. But we've also done some really cool things. Actually, one of our Patreon contributors, Apurus, I believe that's how you say his name, he actually worked on a PR that allowed us to start on our new Vuetify config level options. So with this release, we're going to see two new options in the config where you would normally put components and transitions and directives and whatnot. We now have RTL, and we have the new icons for the config. So we have four presets. Out of the box, it's going to support by default the material icon set as it was before, but you'll now also be able to specify things such as Font Awesome 4, Font Awesome 5, and Material Design icons for their presets. But you can also configure icons on a per icon level basis, or you can configure them at just like you are right now in the HTML. The cool thing about this is the functionality allows for you to actually create your own custom icon name identifiers so that you can reuse these in your application without having to duplicate code. And then also with the RTL, this is going to be the the first instance that we are actually putting dedicated support towards improving RTL functionality. All of the form inputs have been tested, and I've been working with members in the RTL community to ensure that it feels correct and that it looks correct. And so far, the response has been very positive. So thank you guys for the help that you've given with testing that. And so yeah, on Tuesday coming up is going to be our alpha release. We are confident that we should be able to reach an actual minor release very shortly after, but we kind of wanted to get people's hands on it since it is such a very massive patch. And the stuff that I've talked about doesn't even cover half of the new things that you're going to read in the patch notes that are coming. It's very exciting. I can't wait for you guys to get your hand on it. But afterwards, we already have some things in plan and being worked on for the front end pack. I discussed it, well, it's been part of the goal for Patreon for a while now, and I discussed it a couple months back in regards to the components that are going to be inside of it. A couple of those are already, you can actually see them in the repository. They're already being worked on. One is the new timeline component. We have a tree view component being created, which we also have a second part of the creation publication article that was being created by the user that's helping create it. That'll be going live soon. The image, we're going to be getting a new baseline image component, and this is going to be the start of the baseline for 1.2 functionality. We're doing a lot of work on parallax and carousels and trying to unify functionality between those and like Jumbotron. So vImage is going to be the baseline for this, and it's going to allow you to have a really good interface to work with when you're using images. And then as well making the components that are going to extend from it be a little more manageable on our end, but as well having all this very rich functionality available. In 1.2, we're also going to be working on a toolbar refactor. It's the same concept as everything before. We're trying to go to these more baseline components and extending functionality off of them. It allows us to just have a cleaner code base, and it makes it much easier and to maintain, and also helps with code bloat and dead code. So that's definitely good. And one of the last things I want to talk about, which is really cool, two of our moderators in the community, Pedro and I'm going to say it wrong. I think it's Mark. But they have been tirelessly converting the entire application to have scoped styles. This was something that originally I wanted to get out for 1.0, but it was just beyond our capabilities at the time. But they have been working very closely with myself and the dev team, ensuring that everything looks and works properly. But as of 1.1, probably almost all of the style conflicts that you guys may have had working with the library should be completely gone, which is really cool. And that's kind of it. We're really eager to get this release out. We got a lot of exciting new things that are going to be coming up. We do have 1.2 planned, and I'll be trying to release some more information in regards to what 1.3 we'll be focusing on, as well as some more information about the upcoming videos that I'm working on this year. I've actually reached out to a company that was at ViewConf, and hopefully we can come together to create an awesome series, and I can't wait to get that out to you guys. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next month.